Do you have a skeleton in your closet? Are you always knocking on wood? Do you always toot your own horn? What's going on here, guys? I have no idea. So in a minute, I'm going to teach you 8 idioms that Brits and Americans say differently. I can't wait for this one, guys. So let's get going. Welcome to Eat, Sleep, Dream English. If you haven't met me before, my name is Tom and I teach fresh, modern British English so that you can take your English to the next level and achieve your life goals, whatever they may be. Now, let's get straight to number 1. Now, in British English, if we wanted to say that we wanted to avoid bad luck, we would say to touch wood. Touch wood. Now, in American English, it's to knock on wood, to knock on wood. Now the idea is the same. We are saying it so that we can avoid bad luck, but we're using slightly different verbs. So let's say you are sending a birthday card to someone, to a friend, and someone says to you, do you think it will arrive on time? You could say, touch wood, like you hope to avoid bad luck, you hope to get good luck, so you'd say, touch wood. In American English, knock on wood. Knock on wood. So an expression to say that you are hoping for good luck or to avoid bad luck. Now in British English, if you have an embarrassing secret in the past, we would say that you had a skeleton in the cupboard. A skeleton in the cupboard. So the skeleton is the embarrassing thing, the embarrassing story or the embarrassing event. And obviously the cupboard, that's where you put it and you hide it so that no one finds it. So in British English, you have a skeleton in your cupboard. In American English, it's in the closet. So a skeleton in the closet. Same meaning, just a slightly different place to keep your skeleton. I could never run for Prime Minister because I have too many skeletons in my cupboard. Yeah, that's probably true. But I think that's probably true for most people, right? We all have a few skeletons in our cupboards or in our closets. So, a skeleton in the cupboard in British English, a skeleton in the closet in American English. Number 3 is a brilliant one. In British English, if you want to talk about your achievements, if you want to boast, if you want to say how great you are, we would say you blow your own trumpet. That's right, you blow your own trumpet. You talk about how great you are. In American English, I believe, is to toot your own horn. To toot your own horn. Now, perhaps there is some flexibility here. Maybe we now say to toot your own horn, or to blow your own horn, or to toot your own trumpet. It's probably become quite mixed, but I thought it was an interesting one, a great idiom to know. Guys, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but I did say that this would happen. I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but I did say that this would happen. So there you're saying, I don't want to say how right I was, but I'm going to anyway. So to blow your own trumpet or to toot your own horn. If you want to talk about high periods and low periods, especially in terms of numbers, then we would say peaks and troughs. Peaks and troughs. Peaks being the high period, troughs being the low periods. In American English, they would say peaks and valleys. Peaks and valleys. Think about a mountain. Or a mountainous landscape. You have your peak is the top of the mountain and you've got the valley, which is the low land. So very similar, peaks and troughs, peaks and valleys, they both have the same meaning. So for example, this year has been full of peaks and troughs for the business. This year has been full of peaks and troughs for the business. So there have been some very high points and some very low points. In my favourite film, The Big Lebowski, they talk about strikes and gutters. The same idea, the good things and the bad things. You can play about with it. I'm sure there's a few other phrases you can use to talk about the high points and the low points. So as I say, it could be about numbers, or it could be about emotions, or just happy times and sad times, good times and bad times. Any contrast you want to make, you can use this phrase, peaks and troughs. In British English, if you don't completely believe something because you think it might not be true, you could take it with a grain of salt. You could take it with a grain of salt. In American English, that would be to take it with a pinch of salt. A pinch of salt. Again, very similar. To be honest, I probably use both. I don't even know which one I use. So for example, did you hear that Andy wants to move to Australia? I'm taking it with a grain of salt. I'm taking it with a grain of salt. So I'm not fully believing it. Maybe because I know Andy and I just don't think he'll move there. Or maybe I have other information that suggests he won't go. But yeah, I'm not fully convinced that he's going to do this. So it's a good response to information that you don't fully believe. In British English, if you think that there is unnecessary anger about something that isn't that important, you could say it's a storm in a teacup. A storm in a teacup. In American English, it's a tempest in a teacup. I quite like that, a tempest. Because a tempest is essentially a storm, another word for a storm. So the same idea, but different word. So for example, I've heard that there was an argument in the boardroom today, but I think it was just a storm in a teacup. I think it was just a storm in a teacup. So I think there was a lot of anger, but it wasn't about anything important. It was a misunderstanding or something like that. But yeah, not that important. In British English, if something is a problem and it's gonna stop something else from happening, we would say to put a spanner in the works. To put a spanner in the works. A spanner is a tool. The spanner here is the problem and it's stopping whatever's supposed to happen. So for example, maybe you're supposed to be going camping and then you suddenly look at the weather and you're like, oh, have you seen the weather? Oh, the rain's gonna put a spanner in the works. So the rain is gonna create a problem for your camping trip. In American English, it would be to throw a wrench into the situation, or to throw a monkey wrench into the situation. Now, it doesn't mean that the situation is completely ruined. There is still a chance that it could happen, but this is just a problem on the way to completing it. So let's talk about Brexit. I mean, yeah, Brexit happening here in Britain. The British government were trying to organise a deal with the EU, and then the chief negotiator from Britain quit their job. And so that was a spanner in the works. Okay, it didn't stop the situation, it didn't stop the negotiations, but it created a problem. So yeah, it can relate to a lot of different contexts and subjects. And the final one, in British English, we use a phrase, a drop in the ocean, to say that a small amount of actually what's needed. So for example, you know, I can donate £10 a month to a certain charity, but it's a drop in the ocean. It's a small amount compared to what is actually needed, which is much larger. Now in American English, I believe they use that phrase, but I think they also say a drop in the bucket, which of course has a very similar meaning, right? A drop is a small amount and a bucket is a larger amount. So it's essentially the same thing here, that a much larger amount is needed, but we can only give a small amount. So for example, yesterday I gave a homeless guy a sandwich. Now I know it's just a drop in the ocean, but at least I did something. So there, I'm saying that I know that helping one person with some food on one day is a small amount compared to the actual problem, which is the large amount. So yeah, again, you can use it in lots of different contexts. All right, how was that, guys? Did you enjoy that? Did you know all those idioms? Do you know any more idioms that are different between British English and American English? Let me know in the comments below. If you're an American viewer and you have any other idioms that are slightly different to British idioms, let me know. I would love to learn from you guys. Remember guys, I've got new videos every Tuesday and every Friday helping you take your English to the next level. Check me out on Instagram, check me out on Facebook. But until next time, guys, this is Tom, the Chief Dreamer, saying goodbye.